I'll call the meeting to order of the McHenry County Zoning Board of Appeals. The reason for our meeting today is application 2021-026. The applicant is Lucas and Jamie Amelzi. Is that pronounced correctly?
Amelzi, yeah.
Amelzi, okay. The PIN number is 0711-200-013. The address of the property is 4820 Alden Road, Woodstock, Illinois. The request is for a renewal of a conditional use permit 10-41, operation of a contracting excavation business with both inside and outside storage of commercial equipment that is used in the applicant's business. The parcel size is 4.46 acres. I would like to introduce the board members and their township, starting on the right.
Jessica Beverly, Door Township.
Kurt Schnabel, Riley Township.
Vicki Gardner, Nunda Township.
I'm Linnea Kuster from Alden Township.
Charlie Eldridge, Richmond Township.
Robert Cozen, Algonquin Township.
Thomas Jers, Coral Township.
This petition has been reviewed and the following items have been received prior to today's scheduled hearing. The publisher's certificate of publication from a newspaper is dated September 8th, 2023, and thereby meets ordinance requirements. The affidavit of posting was signed and the date posted was September 19, 2023. The affidavit of mailing was signed and date mailed was September 5, 2023, and thereby meets ordinance requirements. The survey has been checked against the petition, legal notice, and publication in the newspaper, and all three match. The filing fees have been paid. The endangered species consultation was not required for this petition, and the McHenry County Soil and Water Conservation District report has been received. At this time, anyone that would be giving any testimony, I would swear you in. So if you're going to be speaking, do you solemnly affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
How the hearing works, we don't have really, we have someone who's here to just kind of learn from the hearing, but just so you know how the hearing works is you will present your case, and then members of the board will ask questions of you. And then if there's any member of the public that wants to ask a question of you, they can as well. And then the staff will give their report. And then anybody that wants to make a comment could do that. And then that'll be the end of the hearing. So we'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Hellier to make your case.
I appreciate it. Again, my name is Bill Hellier. I'm an attorney, so don't hold that against me, but I represent the Amelzis and have for a period of time, long period of time, actually. This comes before the board on a request for an extension of an existing conditional use that was granted in 2010, as was indicated. As far as the use of the property, nothing really is talked about.
Is your microphone on? You might have to
did not
push
check,
it towards the, because this is being recorded. There you go.
I'm sorry. I'll start. Let me start again. Bill Hellier on behalf of the petitioner. Thank you for having us and taking the time to hear our case. This is a petition from my client who I've represented for a number of years, asking for a renewal of an existing conditional use under the same terms as was previously granted. They've been in business for a period in excess of the 10 years. However, the conditional use that was granted by this board needs to be renewed. So we're going through that process. The process is a bit more involved than what it should be. Things have changed, times have changed. So staff has done a nice job reviewing the petition, and I think we've gone through, there were some questions with respect to location of well and septic and the buildings that exist, and I think that information was provided to the staff. Basically looking to ask that the board consider renewing this conditional use under the same terms for, again, an additional 10-year period of time. We did, as was indicated on the record, we did give notice to all of the adjoining owners and did not receive any adverse response back. My client did contact the adjoining owners, knows them, and I think they agree that my client runs a pretty tight ship. He's a good neighbor and has been for a number of years. As is indicated in the exhibit that's up on the screen, you can see where the improvements are and where the subject request for the conditional use is. Towards the back of the property is burned, so it's not unsightly to the adjoining properties. In fact, driving by the property, one would be hard pressed to know that there was something like this going on at the property. Obviously, as from our perspective, I think is fact, there's a need for this type of use. Amelsey's have been in the construction business, as has their family, for well in excess of 30, 40 years. They provide a needed commodity. I can testify that I've utilized their services in doing this job. They follow through, and they, for the most part, do not have any complaints from either customers or neighbors. I think we comply with everything that's required under the ordinance, and I'll go through the standards in just a few moments if the board pleases. But again, good neighbor, have been, want to continue to be that same good neighbor. There is a need for the intended use, and we would ask that you consider its approval. If I may, and I don't know, you may have questions for the petitioner about you through the standards if you like.
That'd be great.
I'm going to ask you some questions with respect to the standards, and you have to just kind of answer yes or no. Standard, what hardship is placed upon the property owner due to the particular surrounding, shape, or topographical conditions of the property if the strict letter of the zoning regulations were carried out? And your petition indicated that the location of the improvements was determined based upon the topography of the lot, as well as its proximity to the water, as well as existing structures. Is that?
You're doing the variation.
Oh, I'm doing the variation. Wrong paper. Strike that. Please describe the conditional use. Please describe how the conditional use meets all applicable standards under the UDO 16.56 use standards, site development standards. Does the what you've done, what you have been doing, does it meet the standards under the local ordinance?
Yes.
And is the conditional use compatible with the existing or planned future development of the area?
Yes.
And is the
Could we ask that Jamie speak louder, because we're recording too? Okay.
I'll repeat that last question. Is the conditional use compatible with the existing or planned future development of the area?
Yes.
So it's not inconsistent, it's continued to be ag in nature, but allows you to perform your business. Is that a fair statement? Number 3, is the conditional use detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, comfort, or general welfare of the area? It does not, does it?
No.
In fact, it really has minimal impact on the surrounding properties. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Number 4, will the conditional use be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the area?
Enjoying
It won't affect anybody, your neighbor's ability to enjoy their property. In fact, it doesn't impact the neighbor's
it?
property.
No, not at all.
Does it impact the county or anybody else in an adverse situation?
No.
Number 5, will the conditional use substantially diminish or impair property value in the area?
No.
In fact, potentially it could increase it based upon this. Number 6, are adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities provided?
Yes.
In fact, they've been there, they were there during the prior petition, and they continue to be maintained. Is that correct? Number 7, has conditional use operation been designed to provide ingress and egress to minimize traffic congestion and hazard on the public streets? You provided for ingress and egress, the the driveway going in and out, and it does not impact the traffic on the street that you're located. Is that correct?
Not at all.
In fact, there's very little traffic that goes in and out. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, there's barely any.
And it's just, as far as the traffic, it's just really your vehicles. You don't have customers stop by this property. Is that a fair statement?
No,
Number 8, will the conditional use conform to the applicable standards of the underlying zoning district?
yes,
Number 9, will the conditional use be reasonably in the interest of the public welfare?
yes,
And if you provided a service that's necessary and utilized, is that a fair statement?
yes,
And number 10, will there be adequate measures taken to provide protection to groundwater recharge and groundwater quality? You're not going to be dumping into the water shed or anything else. You don't. In fact, you don't do that as a correct.
no, yeah, we don't do that.
I think that those are the 10 standards that are required.
So you're done?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start with questioning, am I right, Ms. Beverly?
Thank you. If you want to pull up the plat picture that we have. I notice that there's a house just south of the subject property. Is that your house?
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a house northwest of the property, and that's the neighbors that you were talking about. There's an R1 noted on the current land use map. There was an R1 triangle at the northwest on Alden there. Is that a house?
But I don't have any neighbors close, very, very close at all.
There's no other homes? Okay. And I assume you've looked at all of the proposed conditions from staff, and these are consistent with the conditions that you had before? Okay. I just have one question about condition number 8, about fuel storage is limited to 1,500 gallons, and fuel tanks shall be surrounded with a containment bunker. Do you store fuel on the site, and do you already have a containment bunker?
The concrete around the yes.
That's what we have.
So you have fuel on site and you have the bunker already? Okay, those are my only questions. Thank you.
Mr. Schnabel?
I have no questions.
Ms. Gardner?
I just have one question, and it's just really curiosity on my part. This is just a under 5-acre site, is that right? And the extraction is taking place on this property?
No,
No.
there's no extraction done on the property.
Okay.
Really more just for storage.
So this is to take care of the equipment used for extraction?
Correct.
Okay, and where does the extraction take place? To different areas?
We're hired on numerous jobs throughout the county.
Okay, so you keep all your equipment here, and then when you have something that needs to be hauled, you go out and get it?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you, I understand.
Mr. Eldridge?
I have no questions.
Mr. Cozen?
Thank you. Over the last 10 years, has there been any record of complaints submitted to the county or to any other regulatory body about the operation?
No.
Has the operation received any regulatory citations or suspensions or investigations?
No, not at all.
I have no further questions.
Mr. Jers?
No questions.
I have a few questions, just regarding what was in staff plat review. There was some, the diesel tanks required to be labeled, the septic and well required to be located on the site plan. Was that added?
That was, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry.
And there were some buildings that were needed to be removed from the site plan, and were they removed?
I don't think the buildings were removed. I think there was just the.
Oh, they were not permitted, and they needed to be permitted?
Well, I think if we're talking about the same, maybe we could defer to staff, but I think it was the line was the way the surveyor originally drew the line. It was cut through one of the existing buildings. So that area where the subject property is was redrawn. If you can see it now, cuts around that big white building. The original.
So it was
survey-
like that original big barn?
I think that's correct.
It-
The white building.
It's a lean-to, yeah.
And I think the original draft from the surveyor had, instead of a 90-degree angle, it had it at an angle that was cutting through the corner of that building. So there was a question just to clarify, was that building included in the conditional use? And no, it's not.
It's not, so then it was removed.
Well, it was removed from the legal description, I guess. So the building is still existing there, but it's not part of the request for the conditional use.
Okay, and are there floor drains in any of the buildings?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think that was one of the staff comments, that they didn't want any runoff going into the groundwater. That was-
Correct, yeah, that's one of the things we require just to protect the groundwater.
Right.
And they asked at the NARA to clarify the number of employees. Did you do that?
I think that was all done. Again, I would defer to staff, but I think that was, we gave them, because there was a question on use this size of septic, which was clarified, and
Anna, can you address that?
I know, wants to sneeze here, so.
Listen,
To the best of my recollection, yes, the number of employees was included. What that number is, I don't recall this very second what that number was.
I think there's actually only 7, including the petitioner, the 2 petitioners, so really only 5.
So the owners plus 5 people.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I have. Any questions by members of the public? Okay, then we'll move on to testimony by the public, starting with the staff. Ms. Kurtzman, would you give us
Okay.
your report, please?
So, obviously, this is a request for a renewal. Property is currently zoned A1 conditional use permit. The property size is 4.46 acres out of a larger parcel. With the larger parcel was 20 acres. So this is only part of that. Surrounding land uses, it is primarily a agricultural area. Few scattered residences throughout the Almond Road area there. Future land use designation for this entire area is agricultural. The Soil and Water Conservation District did a report on this because of the lack of intensive development, future development for this. They did not do a complete comprehensive report, but they did note that there were some hydric soils and some wetlands near the entrance of the property and elsewhere on a larger property, but within the confines of this conditional use. It's just up near the front there, where the actual work is being conducted appears to be outside of hydric and wetland area. We do have the conditions that were taken from the last conditional use permit for this. We did take out 2 of them that no longer are relevant, leaving the 10 that you see before you.
Any members of the board have questions for staff? Okay, do you have a closing statement, Mr. Howard?
Just, I appreciate the opportunity to address the board. My client has conducted business, necessary business for a period of in excess of 10 years, and obviously would like to continue doing so, and wants to be respectful to the neighbors, and has been. Wants to continue that good neighbor policy, if you will, and continue operation, and I think it's a necessary need, and not necessarily a necessary evil. It's a necessary need, and I think they've run a good operation and will continue to do so. As far as the conditions, we're fine with those conditions. They've been kind of living within those means as it were. So we would ask if the board is so inclined to approve our request for extension of conditional use. Thank you.
Okay, we'll close the hearing portion of this and move to the voting meeting. Again, this is application 2021-026, and the address is 4820 Alden Road. The applicant, Lucas and Jamie Amelsey. And for renewal, conditional use permit 10-41, operation of a contracting excavation business with both inside and outside storage of commercial equipment that's used in the applicant's business. We have some conditions. I'll go through the conditions. Number 1, this conditional use permit shall expire 10 years from the date of approval by the McHenry County Board or sooner if the contracting and excavation business use is discontinued for a period of more than 12 consecutive months. Number 2, storage of the commercial equipment and vehicles stored on site shall be limited to the vehicles and equipment owned or leased by the property owners of record and used in connection with the contracting and excavation business. Number 3, activities related to the conditional use shall be restricted to those areas so designated on the attached site plan prepared on plat of survey by Luco Surveying, date stamped, received August 11, 2023. Employee parking is limited to the area designated parking area on the attached site plan. All landscaping used for screening shall be maintained throughout the life of the conditional use. Number 5, building permits are required for all storage containers. Number 6, concrete crushing is prohibited. Number 7, stockpiling of soil or waste pavement is prohibited. Number 8, fuel storage is limited to 1,500 gallons. Fuel tanks shall be surrounded with a containment bunker. Number 9, hours of operation shall be limited to 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Number 10, all other federal, state, and local laws shall be met. Are there any other proposed conditions?
Madam Chairman, I move acceptance of the conditions as read.
Motion has been made by Mr. Eldridge, seconded by Ms. Gartner to approve the conditions. Any discussion?
Well, let me just say that this is a reiteration of conditions that have been in place since 2010. There were 2 additional conditions in the 2010 conditional use, which are now not relevant. And they've worked well since 2010, so I see no reason to add or subtract from them. So I'm going to vote in favor.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Eldridge?
Yes.
Ms. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Cozen?
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel?
Yes.
Ms. Beverly?
Yes.
Mr. Jers?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. So the conditions are approved 7-0. Now we'll move on to a motion to approve the conditional use request.
I move approval of the conditional use request subject to the conditions.
I'll second that.
It's been moved by Mr. Eldridge, seconded by Mr. Jers to approve this request. Discussion, Mr. Eldridge.
Yes, this is a request for a conditional use to operate an excavation business. It's really maintenance of the and storage of the equipment for excavation and carrying materials to other sites. There are no operations on this site except the storage of the vehicles and perhaps some light maintenance of the vehicles. This business has been in being in this location for certainly since the 2010 conditional use, and as I understand, for quite some time prior to that. It is located on Alden Road, which is a significant local arterial with a moderate amount of traffic. It is surrounded by a largely rural agricultural area. I might note that I drive by this site several times a week, and unless I'm focused on it, I don't notice the operation because it is set so far back from the road. I know it's there, but it simply doesn't go into my consciousness unless I go out of my way to look at it. There is a note on the soil and water conservation folks that in the area there are farmed wetlands and that there are hydric soils. The farmed wetlands seems to encroach just to a tiny bit on the far back part of the parcel and is not significant to this. The hydric soils seem to be right at the entrance to the property, but the driveway has been there and stable for well over a decade, and Alden Road was rebuilt within the last decade, and I don't believe that the hydric soils are relevant at this point to either the Alden Road right-of-way or their driveway, and therefore, as long as they aren't going to widen their driveway, which has been entirely sufficient for them for the time they've been in business, it simply doesn't matter. This is a business that is needed in the county, is an important part of the McHenry County economy, has been apparently well-run, has had no complaints or violations of local or other laws, and I support the petition.
Mr. Jers.
No comments.
Mr. Cozen.
No comments.
Ms. Gardner.
I agree with Mr. Eldridge. He made all my points. And obviously, you're a good neighbor, and you do a good business there, and I'd like to see it carried through, so I'm in favor.
Mr. Schnabel.
Agreed, I will be supporting the request for renewal.
Ms. Beverly.
No comments.
And I agree with the statements that have been made. I live, within like a mile and a half of this property. I drive by it almost every day, and like Charlie, I just don't even notice it's there. It's far off the road. I don't see a lot of traffic coming in and out of there, so I think they've done a good job of screening, and there haven't been any violations, so I think they deserve another 10 years. So I will call for the vote. Mr. Eldridge.
Yes.
Ms. Gardner.
Yes.
Mr. Cozen.
Yes.
Mr. Schnabel.
Yes.
Ms. Beverly.
Yes.
Mr. Jers.
Yes.
And I will vote yes, so this will go to the county board with a 7-0 vote approving.
I appreciate all.
At this